So we got to talk about some of this other international world news. And Gustavo, that's this rebellion in Russia on Saturday. Obviously, this means that Vladimir Putin's power, according to some, is not sacrosanct and that he can be tested and challenged. And they got pretty close to marching up to his doorsteps in Moscow. But what do you think this means for Donald Trump? I couldn't help but think about Donald Trump and how much capital, he expended supporting Putin and standing him up as such a strong leader and as being invincible. And, what was he thinking as his hero was really being threatened in a way that we haven't seen in the last 2 decades.
Oh, yeah. He's still going to say, Trump's going to say that Putin still remains a strong man, that he averted civil war by appearing on television and telling the head of the mercenary army to head off to Belarus. But no, come on. Everyone, I remember hearing about this on Saturday morning thinking, what? I knew already, the war in Ukraine has just decimated Russia's army. So many people, so many soldiers have been killed. Russian soldiers have been killed. And since we're talking so much about the ancient world, we all know that empires are, strong countries, you need a strong military in order to survive. And when you do not have a strong military, you start hiring mercenaries. And those mercenaries tend to be more motivated by, in killing and in going on to march than a conscripted army. And the moment those mercenary armies do not like what they have no issue turning against you or going for or flipping sides and going on to the enemy.
Professor Lawson, I guess I was sitting here scratching my head why was Russia using these mercenary soldiers in the first place? And as Gustavo said, when you use these kinds of soldiers, their loyalty is to money and to their own agenda, not the national sovereignty of a particular country. So were you at all surprised to see how far this mercenary group and its troops got to really threatening Putin's power?
No,
sorry, go ahead.
The Wagner mercenary group were Putin's army. Putin had been using them as a de facto team that he could sell for hire to other countries, largely countries throughout West and Central Africa. It's just not something that we hear every day on the news. And I think another thing that's a little bit disturbing about Putin's response to an army that used to be under his control, that is now, because part of the reason why they were able to get as far is because the leader of that insurrection knows Putin, knows the country very well. But Putin's response was to tell them to go to Belarus, which is actually still it's still a country that's friendly with Russia. So he's creating this situation in which other countries are going to feel a responsibility to step in, particularly NATO countries that surround Belarus, because the idea was that Belarus was always a friendly nation to Russia. And now he is telling this mercenary army that they can have control of a country that was supposed to be politically neutral in a certain sense in this war between Russia and the Ukraine. So he's causing even more issues than what he has solved.
Yeah, and clearly Putin sent out implicit message: don't stand near any windows, because I'm not certain that we've heard the last of Putin's efforts to put down this mercenary leader. And, how does he maintain his image of a strong leader if he doesn't take further action? Just letting the guy ride out into the sunset doesn't seem like what a strong leader like a Putin who's ruthless would do. But we'll be watching that for sure.